I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
Have you ever knocked on wood, avoided a black cat, or thrown salt over your left shoulder? These might seem like harmless habits, but each one has centuries of belief, fear, and even blood behind it. Today we're going to dive into 13 different superstitions, where they came from, and why we still practice them today, hundreds if not thousands of years later. So sit back and get comfortable, and let's talk about some strange history today on Friday the 13th.
They're here. They're here.
We have scary stories.
They're here.
Welcome to Off-Brand Horror.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. You are watching Off-Brand Horror. Today we will be going over Superstitions, 13 to be exact, in honor of Friday the 13th. This is the only Friday the 13th of 2025. However, it is also June 13th, which means it's Jason Voorhees' birthday. Jason Voorhees, of course, being the hockey masked killer from the Friday the 13th franchise. According to lore, he was born June 13th, 1946, which I think makes him 79 years old. Go cut yourself a slice of birthday cake, maybe go take a swim in a lake, and don't have any sex tonight. Okay, that can wait for tomorrow. Be respectful to Jason. That's my own superstition. I just made that up, okay? No sex on Friday the 13th, okay? You will die. Speaking of superstitions, we're going to go over 13 of them. Did I mention that? Let's start with the first one, and that is Friday the 13th. This superstition is a perfect storm of two long-standing fears, the number 13 and the day Friday. In many cultures, 12 represented completeness, 12 gods of Olympus, 12 months, 12 zodiac signs, 12 numbers on a clock. 13 disrupted that order. Norse mythology describes the Feast of the Gods, where Loki, the trickster god, crashed as the 13th guest and caused the death of Balder, the god of light. Balder. I think Balder? I'm going to go with Balder. I think he was so bald that the sun would just radiate off of his head, and that's why he was the god of light, right? I mean, that makes sense. Loki wanted to make sure that he was the only one included in the Avengers franchise later on, so he had to kill him, the 13th guest. This tale set the groundwork for associating 13 with chaos and betrayal. In Christianity, Judas, the 13th guest at the Last Supper, betrays Jesus. Spoiler alert for the Bible, okay? If you haven't read it yet, go ahead and pause, go read the Holy Bible real quick, and then come back, because I don't want to spoil anything for you, okay? Welcome back. So crazy, right? The main character, Jesus, dies. I can't believe they did that, dude. People were upset about Joel in The Last of Us, right? Jesus died. That's crazy. In Christianity, Judas, the 13th guest at the Last Supper, betrays Jesus, who is then crucified the next day, Friday. During the Middle Ages, Friday was seen as unlucky on its own. It was the day executions were carried out, including Christ's. Another example would be that in the early 1900s, a novel called Friday the 13th stoked financial fear surrounding the date. What began as two separate taboos fused into a day modern people still fear. Buildings skip the 13th floor. Airlines omit row 13. And horror movies immortalized it. Superstition number 2, walking under a ladder. To understand this superstition, you have to think symbolically. A ladder leaning against a wall creates a triangle, right? This got me thinking about like Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because the ladder leans, which is a triangle, right? And triangle, you can't walk under triangles. A ladder leaning against a wall creates a triangle. In ancient Egypt, triangles were sacred symbols of life, death, and resurrection. Think pyramids. Passing through this triangle was like stepping into a sacred geometric space meant only for gods or the dead. This superstition took darker tones in Christian Europe. According to tradition, a ladder was used to take Jesus down from the cross after the crucifixion. In medieval Christian art and the Stations of the Cross, ladders are often present at scenes of death and sorrow. They became symbolically linked to betrayal, suffering, and misfortune. So walking under a ladder wasn't just risky, it was seen as invoking that same sorrow or spiritual danger. Even today, people instinctively avoid it. Superstition number 3. Breaking a mirror means 7 years of bad luck. The superstition around mirrors is deeply spiritual. Ancient Greeks and Romans believed reflective surfaces held part of your soul. That's why water, polished metals, and later glass were treated with reverence. They weren't just showing your face, they were showing your essence. When mirrors became more common during the Roman Empire, the wealthy used them for divination. Breaking one was seen as fracturing the soul. The Romans also believed life ran in 7-year cycles. Physical, health, fate, and spirit would renew every 7 years. Thus, breaking a mirror didn't just bring bad luck, it damaged the soul and required 7 years for recovery. Superstition number 4. Knock on wood. This one spans multiple civilizations. In Celtic Europe, people believed that spirits and gods lived within trees. Touching or knocking on a tree was a way to summon these spirits for protection or to thank them for good fortune. In early Christianity, knocking became tied to Christ's crucifixion, with some saying it symbolized touching the cross. The phrase touch wood is still used in the UK, while knock on wood is more common in North America, as is the phrase touch grass, which is what you may be being told to do on a daily basis, because you sit around watching YouTube videos by YouTubers with less than 1,000 subscribers. So in order to not hear that phrase touch grass again, you should make sure that the YouTubers you're watching are well accepted. This is my way of saying subscribe to this video. Make me known worldwide. Then you won't be told to touch grass anymore because you can say off-brand horror. That's a daily part of my day. Everyone does that. What I'm saying is just subscribe. This is my cheap plug here. Subscribe. Touch some grass too. At its root, touching wood or knocking on wood is a plea to unseen forces saying protect me. Don't jinx this. Superstition number 5. Tossing salt over your left shoulder. Salt wasn't just seasoning in the ancient world. It was sacred. Roman soldiers were paid in salt. It preserved food, was used in religious offerings, and symbolized purity. Spilling salt was considered wasteful and unlucky, possibly even inviting bad spirits. In Christian tradition, the left side has long been associated with evil. The devil himself is said to whisper over your left shoulder. Throwing salt over that shoulder is a defensive move to blind the devil, drive him away, or distract him from influencing your fate. So you spill the salt. Oh no, I just invited the devil to kill me. So you take the salt, you throw it over the left shoulder because that's where he is. You blind him. It's pocket sand basically. Table salt over the left shoulder. Ah, Satan can't get you no more. There's even Renaissance art that ties this together. In Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, Judas has spilled salt. Coincidence? You tell me. Jesus could still be alive today. Superstition number 6. Crossing your fingers. This gesture has evolved. In pre-Christian Europe, crossing fingers symbolized unity and concentration of spiritual energy. Two people would literally cross their index fingers over one another's to make a wish. Later, persecuted Christians used finger crossing as a secret sign of faith, a miniature hidden cross. Over time, people began crossing their own fingers as a way to ask for divine protection or luck. Now, it's more about hope than faith, but the symbolic roots are still spiritual. Superstition number 7. Opening an umbrella indoors. The superstition may date back to ancient Egypt, where parasols shielded nobility from the sun. These were sacred items tied to the sun god Re. Opening one indoors, away from the sun, was seen as an insult to the gods. Side note, the god that I'm talking about, his name is spelled R-A. I thought it was Ra, but I figured I was wrong. I looked it up. I think it's saying it's pronounced as Ray. Okay, so don't come for me in the comments. I'm just saying what I saw online. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Ray. It would make sense, the god of the sun? Sun Ray? Come on, guys. It's right there. It's right there. If it's Ra, then you know what I mean? I guess I'm metaphorically opening an umbrella. I'm offending them all day long. Fast forward to Victorian England. Umbrellas were large, spring-loaded, and dangerous indoors. Opening one could easily injure someone or break something, so the superstition may also be rooted in common sense. Don't cause chaos in the house, but the mystical element stuck. Open one indoors and you're inviting misfortune. Superstition number 8. Black cats bring bad luck. In ancient Egypt, black cats were revered. The goddess Bastet, guardian of the home and bringer of fertility, was often depicted as a lioness or domestic cat. Killing a cat, black or not, was punishable by death. But in medieval Europe, this reverence turned to suspicion. As Christianity spread, older pagan symbols were demonized. Black cats, active at night and tied to feminine energy, became associated with witchcraft. They were thought to be witches' familiars, demonic helpers. In the 14th century, during the Black Death, cats were killed en masse, ironically worsening the rat problem. To this day, in Western cultures, a black cat crossing your path is still seen as a bad omen. In other parts of the world, like Japan or Scotland, it's considered lucky. So really, your luck just depends on your geography. Superstition number 9. Horseshoes bring good luck. Iron was believed to repel evil spirits, and the crescent shape of the horseshoe has ties to the moon and fertility. The story goes that St. Dunstan, a blacksmith, nailed a horseshoe to the devil's hoof. The devil begged for its removal, and Dunstan agreed, if the devil promised he would never enter a place with the horseshoe hung above the door. Today, people still hang them over doorways, open end up, to catch the luck. Superstition number 10. Evil eye protection. The idea of the evil eye, a curse cast by a malevolent glare, dates back to ancient Mesopotamia. It appears in Greek, Roman, Jewish, Islamic, Hindu, and Buddhist cultures. The evil eye was said to bring misfortune, illness, or death, especially to the successful or beautiful. Guess I'd be dead. No, I'd be the luckiest man alive. Amulets called Nazar, N-A-Z-A-R, again, you tell me, They were used to deflect the curse. These are some of the most widespread magical protections in human history. Superstition number 11. Don't whistle indoors. In Russia, Korea, and parts of Africa, whistling indoors is said to summon bad spirits or drive away your wealth. Sailors also believed that whistling on a ship could summon strong winds or storms. The idea is that sound, especially breath-based sound, interacts with the spiritual world. Whistling, seen as careless or mocking, might just bring something in that you don't want. The very first episode of Off-Brand Horror on this channel here, we talk about whistling at night, we talk about a creature known as the Whistler, and other whistling related stories. It was our very first time on this channel trying to figure everything out. If you'd like to see that video, I'll link it at the end of this one, and you can go get some more in-depth stories about whistling. Superstition number 12. Wishing on a shooting star. In ancient Greece, astronomer Ptolemy claimed that shooting stars occurred when the gods peeked down from the heavens. Since they were literally watching, this was your moment to ask for something, hence the wish. The idea that something rare and beautiful opens a window to divine attention persists in many cultures. And finally, superstition number 13. Bad luck comes in threes. 3 is a sacred number in many cultures, from the Christian Trinity to Hindu Trimurti, or the triple goddess, in paganism. But when bad events come, the third one seems to complete a pattern. Some say this was amplified by wartime folklore, soldiers believing that lighting 3 cigarettes off one match would get the third man shot. Others say we're just wired to recognize patterns, and 3 feels like a story with the beginning, middle, and end. You may have heard the saying that death comes in threes. That's what I heard growing up. Anytime a celebrity died, where's the other 2 that are soon to follow? Anytime someone we knew died, when's the other 2 gonna happen? Death comes in threes. Death comes in threes. And I would say, why? Why do we believe that? And I'd be told, well, that's just what they say. But who is they? They is us. And we may just have a thing for the number 3. 3 blind mice, 3 little pigs, 3 stooges. That was 3 examples of our obsession with the number 3. In fact, the rule of 3 is a writing principle that suggests that using the number 3 makes things more humorous, satisfying, or effective than other numbers. For example, Abraham Lincoln used the rule of three in the Gettysburg Address when he said, "Of the people, by the people, for the people." The Declaration of Independence says we have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the cereal Rice Krispies promises to thrill you with a snap, crackle, and pop. Perhaps the thought of death coming in threes comforts us. After all, if death comes in threes, then we at least have a perceived ending in a trilogy of grief and a chance to recover before tragedy inevitably strikes again. Digging more into the history of our obsession with the number 3, did you know the use of the number 3 appears 467 times in the Bible? We have the Holy Trinity of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. Jesus was 33 when he was crucified on the 3rd hour of the day and died at 3 p.m. and rose from the grave 3 days later when he asked Peter 3 times if he loved him. If I spontaneously combusted right now and failed to stop, drop, and roll, would it be fair to say that 2 more people will die? So does death come in threes? I don't think so. But is there anything wrong with believing it does? Probably not. It harms no one, it's historically pleasing, and if it brings you any amount of comfort in the world, then more power to you. For I am just a man who is desperately trying to fill up time on a YouTube video on my YouTube channel, the second YouTube channel that I've attempted. And if this channel fails, well hey, maybe 3rd time's a charm. Superstitions are more than just quirks. They're ancient codes passed down through survival, fear, and myth. Even if you don't believe in them, chances are you've still crossed your fingers, knocked on wood, or made sure you didn't walk under that ladder. These superstitions live in us, whether we know it or not. So tell me, which ones do you secretly follow? Which ones do you kind of believe in? Let me know in the comments. Is there any that I missed that you'd like to hear me cover later? Let me know those in the comments. And don't forget that you must like and subscribe and share this video or you will have 7 years of bad luck. But if you do like, share, and subscribe, it's 7 years of good luck and you get into heaven, dude. I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. It was ancient Christian times and Jesus was on YouTube, right? This was like 3 days after he had risen. He was getting ready to go to hell. I think he may have, I can't remember the exact timeline. All right, guys. Well, I hope you like this style of video. This is the first time I've done one that was actually structured in a while. Let me know if you like this, if you don't like it, if you prefer whenever I'm just yapping off the top of my head. We'll catch you guys next time on another episode of Off Brand Horror.